saying, I'm not sure how many people we have today. We usually get a much bigger registration number, and then the actual people that show up is it's much smaller, but we never have any idea until everybody drops in like they are right now. We're gonna go through after a few introductions, depending as long as the numbers stay sort of manageable, and so far they are, we'll go through sort of a quick introduction for everybody just to say hi and maybe tell us a quick story as to how you became to land on this call, how you became an RGD member. And, it's always very interesting to hear about where people are located and where in your career you are and how you became a member. And then we have a presentation which I'll run through. It's an awful lot of information in a very short period of time. So usually afterwards I'll share a deck and everybody can read through it at their own pace. And then it also will loop everybody into Sissa and Olivia and I. If you need to reach out to anybody, I usually connect a few more people from RGD. So how have we got? We got 12 so far. That's a good number. So maybe I'll get started and I'll pass it on to my co-hosts and and then we'll go through everybody that's on the call. Like I say, just a quick introduction and how you ended up becoming an RGD member, and then we'll go into a presentation. And then Olivia is going to go through rgd.ca and show you a little bit of what the membership side, when you actually log in, some of the different things that you can see once you've logged in as a member to the site. And we always try to keep at least 5 or 10 minutes at the end for questions and have a chance to quickly chat. Like I say, it's usually easier if we have small numbers like this. Once we get into 20 people, it becomes a little bit harder to manage. So it's 5 after, so I'm just going to jump into it. I'm Brent Long. I am Director of Client Happiness for Fusion Design Group. We're a small creative studio. I used to say in Markham, but now we're fully remote, so we're kind of all over the GTA. And I've been an RGD member since 2008. I've forgotten how many years that is. It's a lot. I am old, and I am a fully certified member. I've been part of the board years ago, and since then, I have stayed on the membership committee, which is how I ended up helping with hosting this Welcome Wagon event, which we've been doing for I think 3 years now. And so I think we're kind of finally hitting the groove. And we have a great presentation that goes through a lot of the benefits of being a member and a little bit about some of the details if depending on what level of membership that you are, it tells you about the other levels and how to move your way up through the RGD sort of journey. And yeah, I'm going to pass it off to Olivia, who is my co-host and will handle the website portion of the presentation after me. So, Olivia, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brent. My name is Olivia. I am from Toronto, Ontario. That's where I've been based. And I joined RGD in 2021. I'm still an associate, getting there, put it in the years. I have done volunteering. I think I've been in the membership committee for the longest, since I first joined. Got to work on some cool stuff related to like events that we've done. And now I kind of do a little bit of the membership committee and the D&I committee where we're writing like articles and webinars, highlighting all of our amazing talent that's part of RGD. But excited to get to talk to you all a little bit today about some of that and the website. And with that, I'll pass it over to Sissa.
Thank you, Olivia. Hi, I'm Cissa Morgado. I am currently based in Airdrie, Alberta, and I've been an associate RGD since April 2020. I moved to Canada in 2017, and I've been a student RGD. I've been a part of the RGD for as a volunteer as well. And it's been a valuable way to, like, for me to stay connected, to learn and grow professionally and personally. And I'm looking forward to meeting you all here today. We do have a new newcomers to Canada virtual community that I'm a co-leader. If anyone is new to Canada or come from a diverse background, please feel free to contact me for more information. I'll pass it on to Andrea.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I live in Prince George. I just recently graduated from the College of New Caledonia, the Web and Graphic Design Diploma program there. So I had a career in admin for most of my life, and then just recently had some life things happen that made me realize that I wanted to actually enjoy my job. So I took the leap, did the 2 years at school, and now I'm just like so excited to be doing stuff that's like that I love, like creating. And my teacher, my instructor, she actually told me about RGD and she recommended that I joined it just to help grow my career. So yeah, so that's it.
Awesome. Andrea, you get to pick the next person.
Oh gosh, that's a lot of responsibility right there. I will go for Kayla.
Hi, I'm Kayla and I'm from Moncton, New Brunswick. I've been a graphic designer for 11 years. I work for my family's company, so I'm an in-house designer. So the reason I joined is because I'm kind of isolated. I don't work for an agency, so I'm trying to get more contacts that actually are in the creative side as part of my professional development. So. Yeah.
Awesome.
I will pick Boris.
Hey everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Boris. I'm based out of Toronto. I've been a designer since about 2009. I worked for about a decade in the sport event planning world and then made a bit of a career transition during the pandemic as many of us reevaluated our lives and trajectories, I suppose. But ultimately realized I missed the creative world of design. So I came back, did a bit of freelance. A friend of mine got me in touch with a Randall Boutelier. I'm not sure if Brent, you might be familiar with him. Yeah, so he recommended I join. So I went through the application over the past year and a bit. And presently I'm working downtown at a company called the IPG Media Brands. Yeah, that's essentially it. I'll pick Irina to go next.
Hi, I'm Irina. I'm based in Kitchener-Waterloo. Much like many of you, COVID kind of sent me into a tailspin. I initially was studying broadcasting and planned to become a live graphic operator, and that kind of got thrown for a loop when everything shut down. And it kind of took me a sec to try to figure out what I was going to do with my life, and I fell back in love with graphic design. And I recently graduated and now I'm a freelance graphic designer and it's been going pretty well. I found you guys because I work for my dad's company, is one of my clients, and he worked with one of your members very closely. So he put me in contact with her and she told me all about you guys. So I decided to sign up.
Awesome.
Oh, and I get to pick the next person. Who's there? Emma.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. So why I joined, I've been a designer for probably 20 years or so. So a long time, and primarily doing graphics, illustration, and a lot of manufacturing, so apparel and products and stuff like that, which got me interested into sustainability. And so now I specialize in sustainable design. I have a master's degree in it, and I'm doing my PhD at the moment, which led me to the RGD because I haven't done a lot of work in Canada, and the RGD is the biggest association in Canada, and I really wanted to get involved in the way that policy is being made here in this country around design. So I'm trying to galvanize the design community, I guess, through working with the RGD. I'm on the membership committee. I'll be running a workshop at Design Thinkers in October. If anybody wants to come on sustainable design, you should come. And I'm also working with a couple other membership committee members on a sustainability guide that the goal is to be the first design industry association in Canada, at least, to have a sustainability exam requirement to become a certified member. So if anybody's interested in those things, I always want to talk about it. And then hopefully I get to meet you all in person. I live in Montreal, so if anybody's in Montreal, I'm here, but otherwise I'll be in Toronto in October, and any in-person meetings would be great because I don't like the internet anymore, like everyone. So yeah, John laughed at my joke, so you get to go next.
Thanks, Emma. You're doing admirable work. I appreciate you. My name is John. Nice to meet everyone. I am currently design director at a company called One Method. I've been in the industry for, geez, I want to say maybe 18 or so years, better part of two decades. At One Method, we try to specialize, we do many things. We try to specialize in brand identity design, so inventing new brands or sort of reinventing, retooling existing. How I'm here, I believe the term is affiliate member. So our executive design director became, his name is Jeff Ray. He became a member and he decided to pass on this to me. And I've always sort of been on the outside, I guess, admiring the community. And I'm curious to meet you all, get more involved and see what it's all about. So that's a little on me. Yeah, I'll pass it off to Pratika.
Hey everyone, I'm Prithika. I moved here in 2023. I'm just telling you guys now, I'm super nervous because it's been a while since I've been on a call with so many of you. The last time I was working was 2022, and I've been unemployed for a while, and I moved Toronto from Dubai. And this transition obviously took a lot from me because I also have a partner who's on a wheelchair, so I had to like look after him. And then once he was settled, then I'm putting my shoes in to the full. So I just wanna thought I'll introduce myself and tell you guys that I'm hoping I can like meet most of you in person because yes, I don't like the internet either. And I actually want to meet more people, I mean, in the industry, and that's something I'm really craving for a very long time. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks for that, John. I'm going to pass it on to, so have I finished everyone? Yeah, everyone's done. Okay.
Oh, we got two left.
Who?
Mariana, how about we go with you?
Mariana. Okay.
Did I say that right?
Sorry, was muted. Hi, everyone. It's very nice to be here. My name is Mariana. Actually, I come from the communication side. I've been working in institutional corporate communication, and I've been doing a lot of, designs, campaigns, and things like that. Never had a specific, instruction into graphic design, but I really liked it from the beginning. So this year I decided that I wanted to become more professional and to learn better this discipline. So I'm starting a study, and I wanted to be in contact with, colleagues, get to know how they work here in Canada, what can be done, and have more participation. So I decided to join. I have a student RGD membership, and yeah, from here to grow further. So that's me. Nice meeting you. Oh.
And then we just have one more. Madison, I don't think we've heard from you yet.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Madison Johns, and I'm a graphic designer at Inspire. It's a National Indigenous Registered charity here in Toronto. My official title is Manager Marketing Digital Strategy, but I like to explain it as I have like 3 different areas that I focus on in my work. So social media, web design, and graphic design and branding. I joined the RGD because it's always been something that I wanted to do. My professor was an RGD at Sheridan College, and he really promoted the certification for those of us who were interested. And I graduated in 2018, and I finally just became a member a couple months ago. I was very excited and happy to do that. Um, yeah, that's me. I think everyone went already.
I think so. I think we've got everybody. If we didn't, please say something so we don't move on without you, but I think we got everybody. This is a great group for lots of reasons. One is just it's great to hear the diversity of where people are working, what stage in their career that you're in, and your reasons how you've ended up on this call. One of the things that we hear on a regular basis, especially since COVID, is that, with remote working, before it was more freelancers, but now with so much more remote working and, designers sort of in silos, even if you are going into the office, and that was mentioned multiple times so far, is just being kind of alone. You're a designer in a small place or working for a larger company, and you're the only designer. And the community that RGD offers is amazing. So hopefully you'll see that in the short term now as a member of the RGD. But that's one of the things we talked about, and I've talked about over and over years and years, is that if you've joined RGD to, as somebody that is looking for clients, so to speak, like if you're a freelancer and you're looking to connect with people that work in agencies, sure, you're going to make those connections. But if you're somebody that's looking to find clients, the association doesn't really work that way. Like we're not sort of tagged into the corporate world, so to speak. It is something that we're still working on. It gets better and better as we work as advocates for our industry. But we don't have a lot of corporate members. We're all graphic designers and creatives that make up the community. So we're kind of here for ourselves. We're advocating for ourselves, but we're here to commiserate and support. And I think, I'm going to go through the presentation to show you how you can connect. But these kind of calls are so amazing to meet people and hear the stories and know that a lot of us have the same issue where you're kind of working by yourself. And this RGD and our community is a great way to reach out and say, hey, I don't know how to do this and I don't have anybody else to ask. And I know Slack is, as much as Olivia will tell you, I've been talking smack about Slack for years, but unfortunately, I do use it on a regular basis, and it is an amazing tool, especially in our association, to reach out and ask questions, whether it's looking for a job to looking for freelance help to looking for, can somebody help me? I don't know how to do this in Illustrator, simple technical stuff. Lots and lots of different ways. So I'm going to jump into the presentation because I know it's a lot in a very short period of time. Um, so can everybody see my screen? Okay. So hopefully, did the screen change? Because I've been through the presentation before and I'm talking and we're 3 or 4 slides in on my side and I can't see anybody and everybody finally says you're still on the first screen. So hopefully we've moved forward and everything is good. So it's all about community right from the start. This is sort of our mantra through RGD. Canadian designers exchange ideas, educate and inspire, set professional standards, and build a strong, supportive community dedicated to advocating for the value of design. We are 4,400 members made up of firm owners, freelancers, managers, educators, and students. And it's kind of, it really runs the gamut. We have a lot of different ways of communicating. If depending on how long everybody's been members on the call, you will have already started to receive emails. RGD Word, which is on your screen on the right there on the phone graphic. RGD Word comes out every couple of weeks. It is, in my opinion, the best resource we have. The website is definitely an amazing hub for all the information, but you have to physically go to it. Whereas Word comes to your email inbox every couple of weeks and it covers all the newest information and links you to events, job postings, volunteer, spotlights, all the sort of new and best stuff that we're working on. And we work on a lot of stuff. So there's a ton of different committees, and we'll get into those in a minute. But one of the things that I always like to make sure I communicate is that unlike a lot of the other associations that exist um, in our space, but associations in general, a lot of associations only have one paid member that is actually like somebody that is actually employed by the association. We have a whole office. We have about 6 or 7 paid employees that run the association. So that's why we get an awful lot of things done. If you've ever been part of another association, whether it's graphic design related or any other kind of association, generally they're run by volunteers, which means you're reliant on people to find spare time and their evenings and weekends, etc., to actually make anything happen, to write posts, to organize events, to reach out to people, to organize webinars, etc. And that's really difficult. It takes a lot longer to get some of these things done versus our association, which has a ton of volunteers but also has paid staff that keep things moving. So that's a pretty big deal with the RGD. But we have the website, lots of social media channels, all the normal, different channels, and emails, like I said, RGD Word. Networking, Slack, like I just talked about, lots of different channels, accessibility, branding, career advice, ethical issues, in-house design vendors. There's a ton more. You should definitely check it out. And if there's a channel that you don't see that would be relevant, then you could certainly reach out on one of the more general channels and say, hey, this would be a good channel to have, and maybe you could even help getting that going. We have a book club, which is somewhat new. I want to say in the last couple of years that's started up, and I think it's been really successful. They've gone back and forth between design books that are kind of more serious and other ones that are more lighthearted. They've definitely had calls where they've had the authors on those calls, which is very cool. So you get to hear from the actual author, and sometimes it's just the group chatting away about the books themselves and what they've learned. Um, Multiple people have mentioned about getting together in person. That's something that's starting to really pick up pace more and more these days. I mean, obviously, everything you're reading on a regular basis is remote working is kind of starting to turn around. People are going more hybrid. Banks and big corporations are pushing people to come into the office more often. And RGD has really relied, as we've expanded across Canada more and more, to virtual calls. And admittedly, that does give us the diversity and the variety to be able to do things like these calls where we've got people across the country. But people are missing local events and seeing people in person. And so we've responded to that. And people in certain locations are now trying to, on a voluntary basis, put events together. Trivia nights have been big in the last little while, Minds of Design, workshops, and lectures. And obviously, I'll get into the conferences in a minute. But lots of stuff is starting to happen, a little bit more grassroots. But yeah, if you're looking to help organize, that's another way that you could help volunteer and say, hey, you know what, I'm in this community in this part of the country, and I'm wondering if we could get, it doesn't have to be big. Everybody always seems to think that if we're putting together some kind of event, that it has to be something that has tons of people, but it could be 10 or 15 people. I've certainly hosted people here in North Toronto, and had 15 people, and it's great because you can actually, all of you, not unlike this call, everybody can talk to everybody. You get a really big event and you go home and you're like, oh, I didn't talk to those people over there. Professional awards, we have lots of different awards that we do through the association, and they run on a cycle. So we kind of focus on one each year, and then they run on a cycle where you might not see that one again for 2 or 3 years. Branding awards is this year. The deadline was back in June, and the judging is going to be done, and then the winners will be announced at Design Thinkers in October. In-house design awards are next year, so that's what I mean. We'll move to that and the same kind of thing, and then there's another one that falls in 27, I believe. Professional development, lots of stuff, from the webinars. We used to have a slide that had a whole bunch of different categories on it. We have licensing your work, but there's all kinds of accessibility is covered, money, ethical issues, how to stay creative, networking. There's all kinds of stuff. Go on rgd.ca and webinars, and you'll see all the different categories and when webinars are set up. One of the things that's great that not everybody's aware of is webinars are free for fully certified members. I guess all members, but as a certified member, you get 30 guest passes. As an associate, you get 15, and as affiliate, you get 10. So you can share those passes with anybody that's not a member. If there's somebody that you work with or somebody that's a client, and you think that a certain webinar subject matter would work for them, or you just want them to sort of see stuff that's relevant to our industry that we're dealing with, and you want to help educate, could be your parents. This is what I do, Mom, because nobody's parents understand what we do as graphic designers. Design Thinkers Conference. So we have another one coming up. It seems like it's coming up very quickly. It's a little bit earlier than usual. The Toronto version, we have one in Vancouver in May, and Toronto is usually in November. This year, it's moved up a little bit earlier. It is the 1st and 2nd of October. I believe there's still early bird pricing. That is a great place. Multiple people have talked about seeing people in person. That is probably the best place to see people in person as far as the design community. Most of the people that are volunteers end up going. Toronto is a much bigger event. It's usually around 2,000 people, I think. Whereas Vancouver is a little bit smaller. It's about 600 people. Both have very similar speakers. Toronto is set up so that you have keynotes, but then we have breakout rooms throughout the day. So 4 different subject matter derived sections. So there's lots of choice. Whereas Vancouver is based on one theater, and so you just have one stream, no decisions, easy peasy. So depending, I've been lucky enough to go to both. This year I was in Vancouver in May for that one, and very much looking forward to the October event in Toronto. Hopefully I'll see some of the people here when I go. There's also a Design Thinkers podcast that happens. There's an in-house conference that happened in June, and then the Design Educator Conference, which is tied into Design Thinkers Toronto, which is October 3rd. So the different membership tiers, I'm not sure. That wasn't something that we really asked specifically on this call. So I think we have a diversity of different membership here. But student RGD, it sounds like a lot of people, if they weren't, then they heard about us in school. But RGD has done a very good job of infiltrating all of the university and college level programs. So most of them, if they don't know about us, that would be very, very rare now. And a lot of the programs have us actually integrated into the program. So you are a student RGD as part of signing up for that program. So that's your 1 to 4 years of education. Then when you come out, you can go a couple of different directions, but hopefully you become an associate RGD. And that's from coming out of school for up to 8 years. At 7 years, you can actually go through the certified process, which I'll talk about on the next slide. And that one you can you can do in your 7th or 8th year of being an associate, but you cannot become an associate forever. It is not indefinite. You do have to make a choice at 8 years. You either have to go through the certified process, or you become an affiliate, which is a little bit less as far as what you get for being a member, but it's a little bit less money, but it's not fully certified. So to become a fully certified RGD, for those of you that haven't done it, you submit your application. There's an online test, virtual presentation, and then a presentation of the results, which is provided by the evaluators. And they give you sort of a mentorship sort of call to go over the results and talk about your score tests. The online test, for those of you that are more senior, and I know I've heard this for years, is that, the more senior you become, the harder it is to think about going back to school and studying. So that is sort of a hurdle that a lot of people get stuck on. But really, you can see it's 24 multiple choice questions. There are, a few books, the handbook, etc., that you have to look through and have some familiarity with, but it's not like writing university thesis. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be some big crazy exam, and they get very nervous leading up to it, and then they do it, and not one person has said that was devastatingly hard. Everybody that's taken it has been like, oh, that wasn't so bad. However, what we want to make sure is that we have that if you're a certified RGD, we don't want people just paying into that and getting their certification. There's a lot of associations that you can join that you just pay your money and you are now a member and you might be a certified member. But we want people to feel proud that they've gone through the process and that they can put RGD after their name and that it means something. And without doing this process, it really wouldn't. But it's not meant to be debilitating. It's not meant to be impossible. It's just meant to make sure that the people that are fully certified truly deserve to be so. A couple of resources that sort of go hand in hand with that. One is the RGD handbook. The other is accessibility. This one's version 2. Both of those books I have right over there on my cabinet. I still have hard copies of both of them. Both are not only beautifully designed and easy to read and fun, because they're designed by designers for designers, but super, heavy as far as information. Both are, I believe you can access PDFs of both of these documents on the RGD website, but you can actually get hard copies of them if you're like me and still like hard copy books and printed materials. One of the things, accessibility has become bigger and bigger in the last few years specifically, and the accessibility handbook is amazing at making what sometimes can feel daunting and confusing very simple for designers. So I highly recommend both of those, but accessibility for sure. Volunteers, there's lots of ways to volunteer. You can serve on there's, lots of different committees. You can be a mentor, you can review portfolios, contribute, to blog posts, newsletters. The RGD.ca is always looking for people, and then judge awards. So there's lots of different ways. I follow up after these calls in the next week or two with the presentation and connections for you to reach out if you're looking for a specific volunteer thing that you'd like to do, or even if you have any new ideas, we're always open to that as well. Virtual mentorship has been really big. One of the great things that I've always thought this program does really well is we don't just take mentors and mentees and kind of mash them together like whoever is available. RGD does a really good job of trying to ask some more specific questions so that the mentor that you're being put with actually is relevant to what you want to learn. So if you're a UI UX designer, we want to put you with somebody that's kind of in that space. So we're not putting you with somebody that's, more senior in, the illustration side of things. That doesn't make a lot of sense. They would have a lot of experience, but they're not going to really know the kind of things you're looking to find out. If somebody's kind of entrepreneurial spirited and is freelancing, then we try to find them a firm owner and somebody with that kind of background. So it is a great program from that perspective. Virtual communities, we talked about that. So not unlike Slack channels, we have a ton of different communities. And again, it's definitely another one where if you don't see what you would want to, and you could, be part of many of these and be active in them. I do always say something else from the association perspective is you as a member of RGD, you not unlike any other association, you do get out of this what you put into it. So, those people that have left the association, over the years, and I've been part of some of the exit interviews, it doesn't pay just to, say you're an RGD member, but not get involved. You really have to get involved in the communities, get involved in mentorship, get involved in, volunteering in some way, shape, or form. That's where you're really going to get something, showing up to some of these in-person events, showing up to virtual events, and just being a part. Let me tell you, I've been a member for a long time. If I didn't have the RGD community to get me through COVID and be on virtual calls with other firm owners and more senior designers, I don't know what I would have done, because I thought I was really depressed. And then you talk to a whole bunch of other senior people, some of which who were people I've really looked up to in the industry. And there was a bit of imposter syndrome involved there. But, they're just normal people and they all had the same challenges that I did during COVID. And that really helped. And I think that's some of the most important stuff. It's not just about work, it's about your mental health and state of mind in our industry as a creative. Code of ethics is very important. That's covered in the handbook. You can go to the website and see that. But one of the biggest parts of the ethics side is the free fee or flee.ca. That's a program we've been running forever. It's meant to target mostly more junior designers because those are the ones that tend to get taken advantage of by the industry. But it's all about advocating for paid work and not doing spec work or free work. When a client comes to you or a family member comes to you and says, "Hey, could you do this? There's more work coming," or "Could you do this one for free and the next one I'll pay for?" Or "Could you do this one for pizza because you're doing a restaurant menu?" It all of that work distills the value that we have as designers and the work that we can do, but it also means that people are getting away with that, and they may not come to you the second time. They'll go to somebody else and ask for the same thing and try the same trick, and it just means a lot of designers struggle to get. It's harder and harder for people to actually have those money conversations when you're younger and more junior in the industry, and this is to help with that. Creative Earners is a national salary survey. We do it. It seems like we do it every couple of years. The more data we get, the better. The better it actually really goes, because it's across the country. It's from small design shops, sole proprietors, freelance, all the way up to big agencies and everything in between. And the more information we get, the better the results are for everybody to read it, see, where you should be at from a pay scale, charging hourly, what should you generally be paid if you work in, Toronto versus Kamloops, based on actual data. Great Canadian Studio Crawl. You can go on the website and see all kinds of different offices. We've been doing this for a few years. Videos are submitted. People do walkthroughs of their offices, and it could be everything from home offices all the way up to big corporate floors. It's pretty cool to see. The events calendar, you can actually sync so that you see all of the events that are going on with RGD. And yeah, that's it for me. Sorry, that as usual, that it's a lot of information in a very short period of time. So that's why I say I will share that with everybody that's on the call. I'll get that and send that out, but I'll turn it over to Olivia, and she's going to walk us through rgd.ca from a membership perspective.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brent. That was great. I feel like you covered every corner of RGD that I know, which is fantastic because there are a lot of corners. All right. So just to kind of help folks who might be like onboarding for the first time and are curious about where they can find resources and other information about their member profile, we can go to rgd.ca. And you'll see at the top, there's your sort of member login information. I apologize, I'm just not gonna click on my Slack and it'll just irritate you enough maybe for the 2 minutes. 2 minutes, I swear, I'll be fast. And I believe when you do sign in, it's been a while for me, so apologies, it's not super fresh, but you do get like a login sort of key so that you can set up your account at first. If you have any trouble logging into your account or didn't receive that info, you can let any of us know and we'll connect you with the right person. But I have mine set up because I'm lazy. I know I should use 1Password, but it's so easy when Google can remember everything. Okay, great. So now I'm into my profile and I have this nice sort of distinction between kind of like the more closer sort of elements to like what your membership is all about. These are the things that you can't really see without being sort of logged into your profile, or at the very least, there will be some information that will be missing. So for things like jobs, you can post a job, I believe, or ask to post a job if you know your company is hiring. And then we'll post it here. And then this is a nice way for you to kind of look at stuff from our community, people who are hiring. And what's great too is sometimes I'll look at some of these roles and then message the community like, hey, who works for this place? Can I like talk to you if I can sort of see a little bit more about what it's like? So that's such a lovely way to like get work, honestly, is to kind of get a sort of, heads up from another person. And when we go into our sort of membership category, this has a lot of more sort of info about like your membership. There are discounts related to your membership that you can get to a few various things. I think there's sort of like, information here for our video library, which you can't access unless you're logged in. This is so great. This will have just about everything we've ever like filmed. So all of our like conference material, if we have lectures, that will all be in the video library, and there's some really fun ones in there. You can join our Slack community from here too. It'll take you to the link to join. And then this will have like your discounts where you can see all of them. All these great things to join. Brent earlier was talking about virtual communities. I just honestly really use the search bar for everything, but going to virtual communities, you can kind of go through any that are listed out on this page and you can apply to join them. Super lovely. Let's go back to our sort of profile here briefly and go to certification. So this is where you can learn a little bit more about what it means to be a certified RGD. If you're like an associate, like me, you'll be able to kind of see the apply now for certification and all about like that process. And then in your profile, this is kind of nice where you can kind of set up your account so that anytime maybe you post an article for the RGD Word, maybe you decide to be a part of like the events committee and you want to chair that. We always love more volunteers for the events team. Your image and association can be sort of tagged, which is really great, and people can like see your face and know a little bit more about you. This will also come up when people search for hiring designers. They'll be able to like see a list of RGD people. They'll see this sort of list of like things about you in your profile, and this is where I should put my resume. But yeah, that's like about it for like the internal parts of things. The website itself, I think, gosh, you could spend any amount of time just freely clicking through things. There's always our articles through here. There's events that come up. This is great. All the things that are great to know. You can find things about working in design, more sort of resources that Brent was talking about earlier and how to access them, all the articles that people are writing with RGD that are always so wonderful to read through. Yeah, I think that about covers what it's like exploring our website. But does anyone have any questions, or feeling good to move away from website questions to just general questions? I'll stop sharing.
I don't have a question, but I just have a comment. Olivia, I'm stealing your archive tab full of tabs from July. I think that's a brilliant idea to get rid of your tab clutter in a pinch. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I like to treat it like Marie Kondo's closet. If you don't touch them in like a month, goodbye. You're not going to have those tabs anymore. So
I do that monthly with my desktop, and so it is kind of fun at the end of the year to see what the hell you had open on, January 17th.
Exactly. Usually it's like the same recipe I mean to make, and then I never make it.
I won't tell you who it was, but there was somebody shared their screen, and it was an RGD call a little while ago, and they ended up sharing tabs, and one of the tabs just said weird shit, and I went, okay, I'm not good at my mental edit tool, so I think I lasted all of 5 minutes before I said, I gotta ask what that is, because you made the mistake of sharing it. It's right there. And luckily because it was all in real time, it wasn't actually that weird. It was just like there was some strange recipes and some stuff like that. But he did share it afterwards, and I really put him on the spot, and it really could have gone sideways. Luckily it didn't.
That's so good.
So are there any other questions? Like I say, I sort of apologize because we go through an awful lot of information in sort of 40 minutes. Like I say, a lot of stuff happens at our AGM, which is in April, at the end of our sort of financial year end for the association. I haven't been on the board for a number of years, but you have to. It's mandatory. You have to be, and it used to be in person, like a lot of stuff. And I remember being chair of the membership committee and going to that. And you're involved in the board meetings, and lots of stuff is happening. But it's only when you go to the AGM at the end of the year and the other chairs of all of the other committees are there presenting what they've done, what their committee of between 5 and 10, volunteer driven committees has done. And it's ridiculous the amount of stuff, the content that's on the website. The website has sort of been a pain point because it took a long time to redesign it because it has so much content on it. Like Olivia was showing, you can go back and look at videos, especially as a member. You can go back and look at videos from conferences, webinars. It you have to devote some time to it. It's not one of those things where you could just kind of click through it in 5 or 10 minutes. You need to really go through and spend some time. And it is definitely, a rabbit hole of information, but there's lots of great stuff on there. Yeah. So are there any questions? That's how good a job we did.
Oh my God, we've astounded them. Speechless. Applause.
Nice.
I guess I have a question. Outside of the Design Thinkers that's earlier this year in Toronto, is there anything, any notable events coming up that we should be tuned into?
Ooh. Remind me, sorry, John, where you're based again?
In Toronto.
Oh, so you're based in Toronto. Okay. I know that there's a few event folks who are based in Toronto who do run regular events. I really love the Minds of Design. Actually, that's a really dark joke. I won't make that today. But Ian used to be on this panel, and he is doing Minds of Design, and those are fantastic lectures. So I feel like I really want to go to them. It's been on my bucket list forever, but they talk about the coolest stuff. It's always topical. And then there's also loads of like meetups too. And I believe like we tried to get volunteers from loads of different cities. So not that it's not just Toronto. So if you are in like another city in Canada, I think our homepage has all of the upcoming events, but if there's something specific to your region, I would suggest reaching out to the committee and see what they have in store. I think there's like an email associated with all the events that you can reach out to. Like it's probably like events@rgd.ca.
Amazing. Okay, thanks.
And like I was saying before, it doesn't take much to reach out and just say to somebody, you know, whether it's on the events committee or even in a Slack channel, to say, hey, you know what, I'm in Toronto, in this area of Toronto, and you know, if anybody wants to get together, you know, next week for a drink and just sort of commiserate about design, or I have a project that I'm struggling with and I'd love to just sit and have a beer or coffee or whatever with, and it, you know, it doesn't have to be big, right? You know, and usually they'll potentially post that. They might post it with Word, they might send out a special email, and you know, they can target it. So if it's to the Toronto audience, I know they've done that with the trivia nights. They've sent out to, you know, each province sort of wise. You know, if you're in Alberta, there's this event that's happening, and you know, if you have the ability to go, it's next Thursday night at this place. You know, and if you get, you know, 5 or 10 people, sometimes that's amazing. Like I said, sometimes people get to the point where, oh, it was only 5 or 10 people. It's like, that's great. Especially, to be honest, especially these days, as we're all still, I believe, getting used to being in person. Sometimes, you know, 30, 25, 30 people can be a lot. You know, 5 or 10 people is nice. You can talk to everybody at one small table and actually enjoy yourself, feel like you actually got something from each of those individuals, rather than, you know, everybody, all 30 introduced yourselves and you talked to 3 and that was it. So anyone else? Okay, I'm always happy to give people five minutes back to their day. This has been great. It was a great group. It was nice to meet all of you. If anybody's thinking about going to Design Thinkers in Toronto in October, I will definitely be there with my team. You'll get to meet a lot of different RGD people. We usually have a booth, so those of us that are volunteers and definitely people from the board usually are doing a little bit of a stint here and there over the 2 days. So if you do go, drop by and say hi and say that you've been on a Welcome Wagon call and that Olivia and Sissa and Brent were amazing. Just helps us, you know, I don't know what we get. We don't get anything, but it's just nice to know people cared. I will follow up in the next couple of weeks with an email to all of you with the presentation and more contact people. I have the 3 of us, but it'll also include Hillary and Zaria from the actual office. And then if you have any questions about anything specific or you want to get involved in a specific way, then you can reach out to everybody, and hopefully we can see you again.
Thank you. It's nice
Thank
meeting
you.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
I think it was
Have
nice
a great day.
knowing faces.
Bye.